grind this blade a little bit thin. Now look at it. When you look in the light, if you can scratch it, you can remove metal. I've got scratches right here on the tip of the blade. I'm going to move down to the next section. Now this is an emergency technique. You know, I'm not preaching that you go out and buy yourself a cinder block to sharpen knives with. Okay, now compared to this side, which has a few of the ceramic scrapes but no significant metal removal, you can see here I've got quite a bit of metal removal from the blade. Go back and do the other side. Now, something that I'm experiencing that's difficult to show you on the video is using this concrete cinder block dry. By moving this blade back and forth at this speed, I can feel heat in this blade. Now, it's not hot enough to burn me. It's, you know, just less than 100 degrees Celsius. It's probably only about 50 or 60 degrees Celsius. But this is why you can't use mechanized equipment unless they're water cooled or oil cooled to do this heavy grinding on your blade. In the video you'll see me grinding blades using my revolving Japanese water stones, but the key point there is they're revolving in a trough of water and the blade is continually cooled as the grinding procedure proceeds. Likewise, in the little section of this video you'll see me actually using a belt sander to do a little bit of cosmetic polishing of a blade, but the idea there is that the belt sander is moving so slowly and I'm touching the blade with my hands as I'm doing it, I could easily remove the blade from the grinding apparatus before any amount of heat could build up, and I can feel that with my fingers. So don't be tempted that if you feel you got a real thick blade and it needs to be ground down, you know, don't get out your Makita hand grinder and put the blade in a vise and start grinding, because you'll heat the blade up and you ruin the temper, which is a real important part as to why blades cut well in the first place. So that's the beauty of having the water coolant as well on the Japanese water stones. And in an ideal world, I'd be able to flush the surface of this stone off. But because it's so porous, most of those metal filings are just falling into the little holes that are in this block, and it's working fine for the sake of demonstration. Okay. Now that I'm satisfied that I've removed some metal from the secondary edge and moved the start of the bevel of the secondary edge back a little bit, I'm going to proceed to step 5, which is grinding in a new edge. And I've raised the angle of that blade up ever so slightly. Oh yeah, boy, that heat builds up really quick. Especially now because there's a smaller surface area, you see, that's in contact with the stone, so there's more pressure. I actually can't go any faster than this because I can feel the heat in my fingertips. Okay, check that with my finger. Oh boy, oh boy. Just in that simple grinding, I can feel right here it's got a new edge is formed. Not only that, but I can actually see with my eyes. I can see a burr. I can see a burr. Of course, I can feel it, but I can see it as well. And here's good. I'm going to work this area here, a couple more strokes. back to the other side. Okay. Okay. I can feel, even with this cinder block, that by following the principles of sharpening, I have established a new edge here. The next step, of course, is to hone that edge. Get it as sharp as one could possibly get it by using a cinder block. And again, the same techniques here. That same angle that we just ground in an edge with. 1, 2, and I can feel there's a big piece of grit on there somewhere. I'm just going to wipe that off. 3, 4, 5. Now please remember, I'm not endorsing the use of concrete cinder blocks to sharpen your cutlery. I'm saying in a pinch, you could. Because what's important here are understanding the fundamentals of sharpening and applying them to whatever sharpening medium you have. Okay, 5 times each side. Remember what's coming next was knocking the edge off. And in fact, we'll use different materials for all of this, just so you can see the versatility of the skills. Instead of using wood there, I'll use cardboard. It's not quite as hard as wood. I'll do it 4 times. Come back, strop something on the stone there that's bumping. We can just keep wiping it off. Strop once each side, again at that nice low angle. Okay, now we need to move to a finer sharpening medium. Well, in the spirit of things, we're going to use this piece of cardboard here. Now, cardboard has this wonderful quality. Let's get off this section here. I am not familiar with the process of making cardboard, but I do understand that it's full of little clay particles. That's why when you use a sharpened knife to cut cardboard, over time it gets dull. But the good news is whatever can dull a knife usually can sharpen it as well. So what we're going to do here is substitute our finer sharpening medium for a piece of cardboard, and we're going to strop the blade on this piece of cardboard. That nice low angle. We're going to knock the edge off. Knock the burr off, excuse me. I wasn't knocking the edge off, knocking the burr off. And come back and sharpen. Do that final stropping 1 or 2 more times each side. And lo and behold, there's a couple little pieces of burr still on there. You have to work a little bit harder because you're working with substandard sharpening materials here. Lo and behold, we've gotten this knife really sharp with these substandard sharpening materials. Okay, yeah, that's that my fingers, you can see again here, you see? You can see my fingertips. Okay, they're not sliding that blade anymore. I look in the light. There's no light reflecting like it was before when it was dull. And for a serrated knife that was sharpened on concrete cinder block and on a piece of cardboard, I think we did really well. And of course, you'd have to cut something. Well, we can cut this apple again, but it's you can see what we cut earlier. Well, if you look at this, of course, this is turning brown already compared to the piece of apple that we cut with the sharp knife, so that demonstration is effectively completed. But this section and this section were cut with the same kind of knife, that same kind of serrated, same metal. And this is when it was one that was fully dull, and this is one that we went and sharpened the cinder block. And you should be able to see how there's a lot of tear here and there isn't there. So I'm hoping that this little demonstration will make you believe that we've sharpened this up really well, considering the tools we used. Okay. So now let's sharpen a few other knives. We're finished with our apple demonstration.